Best Fantasy Book of 2025. A Sorceress Comes to Call by Kingfisher. Imagine a house where doors don't exist. Where privacy is a myth, and secrets are impossible to keep, except for the ones that are dangerous enough to kill. This is the house of a mother unlike any you've ever known. A mother who is a sorceress. Welcome to A Sorceress Comes to Call by Kingfisher, named one of the best fantasy books of the year by NPR, Elle, and Paste, and a Goodreads Best Fantasy Choice Award nominee. This isn't your typical fairy tale. This is a story of dark magic, cunning, family secrets, and the courage it takes to stand against the ones you love. Cordelia has always known her mother is unusual. Their house has no doors between rooms, no private corners, no spaces to hide. And friends? Not allowed. Her only companion is Falada, her mother's beautiful white horse, who becomes her secret confidant and companion. The freedom Cordelia feels when riding Falada across open fields is unlike anything she experiences indoors. There, with the wind whipping past her face and the scent of grass and earth around her, she can almost forget the strangeness and danger of her home. But the truth is unavoidable. Cordelia's mother is no ordinary woman. She is powerful, cruel, and dangerously ambitious. She forces Cordelia into hours of stillness, sometimes days, to mold her into the daughter she wants, or perhaps to train her for something far darker. Other mothers might discipline their children with scoldings or chores. But other mothers don't command silence and motionlessness with such a terrifying grip. Other mothers aren't sorceresses. Then comes a shift. Cordelia's mother moves them to the manor of a wealthy older squire and his sister, Hester, who is kind but sharp-eyed and perceptive. At first glance, the squire's home seems a haven, a place of warmth, laughter, and civility, a stark contrast to the strange, oppressive environment Cordelia has always known. For the first time, Cordelia senses belonging. She begins to imagine a life beyond her mother's shadow. A life where she can laugh, speak, and even love. But danger lurks. Cordelia can sense that her mother has set her sights on the squire and Hester. They are not merely neighbors, they are potential victims of her mother's dark magic. As Cordelia grows accustomed to her new surroundings, the story deepens. Her mother's influence is never far away. Small, sinister events begin to unfold, a whisper of a spell, a subtle manipulation, a moment where the ordinary turns terrifying. Cordelia must make a choice, remain under the shadow of the woman who raised her or confront her mother's evil, risking everything to protect the people she has come to call family. This tension drives the narrative forward, keeping readers, or listeners, on edge with every chapter. Each encounter with her mother, each discovery of magic and malice, heightens the stakes. The question isn't just what will happen, but who will Cordelia become in the process? At its core, A Sorceress Comes to Call is more than a story of magic and murder. It's about family, trust, courage, and self-discovery. Cordelia's journey is as much inward as it is outward. Her mother embodies control, ambition, and cruelty, but also the complexity of parental influence. Cordelia's moral compass, empathy, and sense of justice are tested at every turn. And then there's Hester and the squire. Their kindness and warmth are not just narrative conveniences, they represent the possibility of human goodness and love in a world tainted by dark power. The story explores how relationships can heal, inspire, and ultimately give someone the courage to stand against oppression. Kingfisher's reimagining of the brothers Grimm's The Goose Girl is dark, atmospheric, and intensely engaging. Secrets and forbidden magic permeate every scene. Each character encounter feels significant, every small detail, the sound of a door creaking, the flutter of a shadow, the whispered threat of a spell, contributes to an air of suspense that never lets up. Listeners will find themselves asking, what is Cordelia capable of? Can she outwit a mother who seems unstoppable? Who survives when magic is deadly and loyalty is tested? Kingfisher's prose is vivid, clever, and precise. She balances darkness with emotional depth, creating a narrative that feels both timeless and immediate, like a classic fairy tale told for modern readers. The emotional core of the story is what makes it unforgettable. Cordelia's fear, hope, longing, and courage resonate with everyone who has ever faced a parent's expectation, or the shadow of a family secret. Readers, and listeners, can feel the tension in every scene, the quiet terror of her mother's demands, the thrill of newfound freedom, and the heartbreak of realizing that love and loyalty are complicated. The story asks difficult questions. How far would you go to protect those you love? How do you stand against someone who shaped your entire life? Can you forgive even the darkest of transgressions? Without giving away all the plot twists, it's safe to say the novel masterfully builds tension. The story's pacing is deliberate, allowing readers to savor the suspense, but never so slow that momentum is lost. Introduction to Cordelia's mother sets up mystery, danger, and control. Arrival at the manor introduces warmth, hope, and moral contrast. First subtle magical confrontations, suspense deepens, stakes escalate. Cordelia's moral decisions, emotional depth increases, internal conflict is vivid. Climactic confrontations, a thrilling payoff that balances action, emotion, and narrative satisfaction. Throughout, Kingfisher weaves rich imagery and meticulous world building, so every room, forest, and manor feels alive. You can see the house with no doors, feel the wind on Falada's back, and sense the creeping dread of a sorceress's magic at work. Critics have not held back in their admiration. Peter S. Beagle, the Hugo, Nebula, and Locus Award-winning author of The Last Unicorn, calls Kingfisher's work dazzling. Bookpage hails her as an inventive fantasy powerhouse. NPR, Elle, and Paste named this one of the best fantasy books of the year, highlighting its clever reimagining of fairy tale tropes and deep emotional resonance. It's not just a fantasy tale, it's a story that resonates on multiple levels: suspense, magic, emotional growth, and moral complexity. Fans of Kingfisher will recognize the author's signature style from books like Nettle and Bone, dark, twisting fairy tale fantasy. Thornhedge, atmospheric horror fantasy blending magic and suspense. What Moves the Dead, a dark, literary reimagining of Lovecraftian horror. What Feasts at Night, suspenseful, eerie, and immersive. A House with Good Bones, exploring family secrets and uncanny mysteries. If you enjoy dark, emotionally complex, and cleverly written fantasy, A Sorceress Comes to Call is a natural next step. What makes this story irresistible is its combination of tension, emotional depth, and fairy tale familiarity. Listeners are drawn in by the thread of a mother's dark magic, a character who is frighteningly real and powerful. Cordelia's journey, from passive victim to courageous heroine. Atmospheric settings, from the oppressive house with no doors to the warm, deceptively safe manor. High stakes, every choice carries consequences, and every secret could be deadly. Moral complexity, characters are not purely good or evil, their decisions feel authentic and weighty. Kingfisher's prose keeps listeners engaged through vivid descriptions, internal monologues, and dialogue that reveals character and tension simultaneously. This story works exceptionally well in audio format. Suspenseful narration keeps listeners hooked. Rich descriptions create mental imagery perfect for immersive listening. Emotional and moral tension engages audiences on a personal level. Magical elements allow for dramatic sound design, think galloping hooves, creaking doors, whispering spells. With the right pacing, listeners will feel like they are riding alongside Cordelia on Falada, witnessing every magical confrontation, and holding their breath with every choice she makes. If you love fantasy that is dark, inventive, and emotionally gripping, don't miss A Sorceress Comes to Call. Step into a world of forbidden magic, family secrets, and the courage it takes to stand against the people who shaped your life. Grab your copy, press play, and let Kingfisher transport you into a story that is as thrilling as it is unforgettable.